Doctor Who Espresso. Today, it's sort of been a while since I've done a collection-y video, and I think quite recently, there's been a lot about autographs in the Doctor Who news world so it got me the idea in my head, sort of doing this video, of doing an autograph collection, because there was an article in Doctor Who magazine, and then there was a few other autograph-related things, and then of course, the main thing that clenched it for me was ordering something from Time Meddlers, which we'll get to in a minute. I want to sort of take you on a journey with this in a way. I thought it'd be fun to sort of start at the beginning, which is obviously with this sort of picture here, really. Actually, no, well, that's not the beginning, actually. Hang on. I will get the beginning in a minute, but before we get to the beginning, we're going to sort of start here with this picture, this signed stamp centre picture of Tom Baker, and I remember getting this and thinking that actually I was never going to meet anyone from the Doctor Who universe. It was quite a while ago now, I think it was 2 years now. I ended up spending a ridiculous amount on something that we're about to get to in a minute, thinking that I'd never met anyone in the Doctor Who universe and never went to conventions. I still don't, really. But I liked the idea of having some autographs, so I picked 2 Doctors. I picked Tom Baker, the 4th Doctor signed print. I eventually got another autograph from him later on, which I'll get to later. But also Colin Baker, who were probably my 2 favourite of the classic Doctors. And I spent an obscene amount of money on this, so I keep it in bubble wrap, especially at the moment when it's in storage. And I remember commenting, oh, I'm never going to meet anyone, so it's nice to have a one-off and spend an obscene amount on who were both my favourite Doctors. And then I met this guy twice that year, so that's a funny sort of anecdote there. But yeah, it's a lovely figure. I think it's San Diego Comic Con. I don't know if they reprinted it. I've never opened it, as I'm sure you can imagine. And there is Colin Baker's autograph, and I got it at the stamp centre that Christmas, sort of January, along with this. I'm thinking, oh yeah, I'm never going to meet anyone. And here we are today with quite a sizable autograph collection. So we're going to start here, but we're going to go back even further for my next autograph, although I'm not entirely sure it is authentic, but I want to talk about it anyway. Now, here is the true beginning, and it is this signed photo by Peter Capaldi, and I did this probably in 2014. I wrote a letter I looked up his sort of fan mail address, I think. I sent a letter talking about how much I loved him in Series 8, how much I wish I could have gone to see him at the World Tour, which was fresh in my mind at the time. It seems a bit weird to think about it as being nearly 7 years ago this year, and the Series 8 Steelbook is coming out as well. I remember also Paddington, the movie, came out, and I thought, well, it'll be really amazing if I can talk about something that isn't Doctor Who. So I spoke about Paddington, and I referenced the Three Musketeers, which I hadn't seen, but I think I just spoke about that in the letter. And then I got this back, and I'm not entirely sure it is genuine, because I've seen other people's sort of letters and stuff, autographs from him in person, and I don't think this is his handwriting. But even if it's not genuine, I think for me the sentimental value of the moment of opening that letter and seeing this inside and getting so excited for the first time seeing an autograph in my life of a Doctor Who actor which I liked, I will never forget it, even if it isn't genuine, and it will always have that memory for me. And it's a lovely photo, and I think even if it's not genuine, it is just nice to think that it might be. But yeah, that's my Peter Capaldi autograph. Now we move on to the autograph that clenched this video. It is, I don't know how well this is going to fit on camera, it is the Sylvester Mccoy autograph from Time Meddlers, who are a great retailer. I think they're planning a few more of these signings, so I'd definitely check out their website. This is Sylvester Mccoy, who is of course the 7th Doctor, so we've had the 4th, the 6th, and now the 7th Doctor, so almost a complete set of classic Doctors. I just need to track down Peter Davison at some point. It's a lovely autograph. I wanted to get it personalised, but I was a few pounds short, so I didn't. I ended up getting this just sort of nicely not printed. I like the Doctor Who logo at the top, and I thought it was a nice, lovely picture of Sylvester too. I didn't really want the one with the Dalek. I thought that one's just sort of, particularly with my autographs, I like to have a focus on that person and that character that they played, so I really liked this one the most. So yeah, that's my Sylvester Mccoy autograph from Time Meddlers. Also from Time Meddlers, I did actually pick up this. I think they had a few going spare, and I picked one up, and it is this Mandip Gill autograph, who of course plays one of the current TARDIS team. That's, I think Yasmin Khan. I think it's Yasmin Khan. It is Yasmin Khan, or Yaz Khan, depending on who you talk to. And she's got a lovely autograph there. A really nice picture there. I wish I'd gotten a better frame, because actually the frame I got for Sylvester McCoy was cheaper than this one, and this one looks infinitely worse. So maybe at some point I'll go track down a better frame. It's a nice picture of Yaz from the Series 12 promotional material there, I think. There were lots of different ones, but again, I think this was the best one for her as a character, because she was sort of in the main focus in this picture, although I do like the Spyfall one. If I was able to try and track down the entire current well, not current TARDIS team anymore, the fam, I would probably have picked that one, but I don't think I'm going to be able to, because Bradley Walsh and Tosin Cole and Jodie Whittaker are all very famous at the moment, and I'm sure we'll probably not be doing conventions or anything like that for a while. In fact, I'm very pleased to have got Amanda Gill's autograph, because it must be quite hard to get considering how recent a companion she is. The last of my sort of framed photos is this one, which I recently actually sort of made the mount myself here, and it is a Stephen Moffat autograph. I met him at Forbidden Planet. I think it was a comic signing, a Sherlock comic that they were signing there, and Sue Virtue was there, who's also a producer on Sherlock. He also did Dracula with her, I think. Sorry. And so I sort of made this sort of mount myself out of bits of Doctor Who Adventures magazines that I had go and spare, because I've been currently trying to sort of track down all those issues and sort of complete a collection there. And I've sort of cut out some of these from some duplicate issues here. I like the sort of thing where I got this. And these DVD volume covers are really nostalgic for me. I don't think I had the Series 4 Steelbook at this point, so when I got this I didn't think I was ever going to replace Series 4, but I have now replaced Series 4 and Steelbook. And I just keep thinking about how this was sort of put away in a plastic sleeve, and I kept thinking I wanted to sort of frame it. So I did recently. It was just at the end of lockdown, the second one. And I just thought, you know what, let's watch Science in the Library and make this lovely mount, because it is actually a really nice artwork that they've done for this DVD release, I think, in my opinion. So yeah, that is the sort of framed print. So we're now going to sort of go on to sort of signed books, comics. I don't think I've got any DVDs at the moment here. I have got some signed DVDs, but I'm not going to show them, I don't think, because they're all sort of the same people. Because often, particularly at Forbidden Planet signings, they'll let you sign multiple things. But I tend to pick the books first, or the comics, because I just sort of like them. But yeah, let's get into them next. So, to start us off is Eric Saywood. I believe, all these, I remember I did actually send an autograph from Eric Saywood to the Doctor Who Guide. Again, Forbidden Planet being the nice, lovely people they are, they let you get multiple things signed. I got them to sign my Season 19 DVD, well, not Season 19 DVD, my Earthshock DVD, and that's the one I sent Alex Patterson at the Doctor Who Guide. You should definitely check him out, he's got an awesome channel. But I also got a couple of things signed by him that I kept. I got this novelisation, this Target novelisation of The Visitation, looking very battered, and it is signed by Eric Saywood there. And one of the stories about this, I'm trying to have some stories about some of these, and this is one of the first Target books I ever got. I believe I got it at a sort of, how do you say it, sort of yard sale, I don't know, sort of fate thing at my dad's college. So that's sort of a nice little memory, is that this being, finding this in a sort of bookshop, and it was one of the first experiences of classic Doctor Who for me, really, actually. And I read this long before I ever watched The Visitation. I don't think I ever watched that until I got it on Blu-ray. So it's a nice sort of memory, particularly for me, in reading this book. And as you can tell, it has been read by me many times, although it is an old book even when I got it, and that would have been 2010, 2012, around that period. So even that's a long time for a book, and it's definitely been through a lot of use. It's one of my favourite stories, actually. I have a lot of nostalgia for The Visitation for some reason. I'm sure lots of people are wondering why, because I know it's not the most well-loved story. I mean, I don't think it's the most disliked story. This was the reason I was there at the signing, the Resurrection of the Daleks sort of novelisation, which they have now actually re-released with some lovely Target art, and there's the autograph by Eric Saywood. I remember meeting him. That was one of the first signings I went to alone. So yeah, I've been to quite a few by myself now. It's kind of depressing, really, when I think about it. And this would have actually probably been even further back than the Peter Capaldi autograph, actually. this was a school book signing that I went to for Stephen Cole, and he was promoting some other new book about like a dinosaur or whatever. But all I cared about, as I'm sure you can tell, is the Doctor Who books that he wrote for the new series, including The Art of Destruction. So this is actually probably older than that. I think this was while I lived in sort of Oxford. And then you can see Aidan, best wishes, Steve Cole, which is one of my favourite memories of, probably just nostalgically, particularly because it was a primary school. I don't think I've ever done anything since with schools of book signings. It kind of makes me sad, really, because we did a great talk and everything. And of course, got another Sting of the Zygons, which is also signed by Steve Cole, which is really nice. I really, really treasure those books. They're one of the few. I don't really like these books, bluntly. I've never really given them a chance since they came out, really. But I always thought they were a bit dull. But I've always kept these ones because they were such a sentimental value to me. And also, probably the first time I ever thought about the Zygons. Now, I believe I made a big error because I brought all the Target books I bought none of the Target books except the ones that I have signed, which is probably a stupid thing to do. I now have, and this is the only Target book from the original range I don't have signed, because I've not met Russell T Davies, sadly. I would love to meet Russell T Davies. Hopefully one day I will. But let's move on to the 3 Target books which I do have signed. Starting with The Christmas Invasion by Jenny T. Colgan. I think I've read this one. There's some great imagery in this one, actually. I really always thought the description of all the flats was really quite good. I thought it was very visual, and there's her autograph there. This was one I think I bought afterwards. So I don't think I ever actually met her, but I do sort of, I bought it in Forbidden Planet, in short. This is another one by Stephen Moffatt. This is the sort of signed Day of the Doctor book. His autograph's a bit clear in there. It's one of my favourite sort of books as well, so I wanted to get that in. And then Paul Cornell, who my dad went to college with his wife. So I did actually meet him. I never actually got his autograph, though, so it was quite fun. I was too young to really care about autographs at the time, but it's quite nice to have this, which I think is quite funny. I think I had lunch with Paul Cornell or something like that, but this is quite a sort of nice little thing to sort of remember that by, even if I didn't meet him at the time. And there's Paul Cornell's sort of autograph, which does look a bit like a scribble, but they all do, really. So, yeah, and that's one I don't think I bought it when seeing him or anything. I don't think I was at that signing, but I do sort of have memories of meeting him. The next is, I didn't really like this book, but it's signed, so I brought it with me. I love the cover on this, and also I love this cartoony version of the 13th Doctor. And I do think the fan works a lot better in the novel sort of format, because you're able to flesh them out a bit more, whereas in screen you don't have as much time. And that's signed by David Solomon. Again, a book that I sort of bought in Forbidden Planet and never sort of actually met the writer, but yeah, it's autograph, so I'm showing it to you. Right, so that brings us to the end of the paperback books. Let's have a break from the books to have a look at some comics. Now, this isn't my entire comic collection, but obviously, if this video does well, I may well cover my entire comic collection. We're going to have a look at some of the Doctor Who comics that I've got signed here. Again, most of these I wasn't at the signing for, but one of these I was, so that's exciting. We'll get to that last, but let's first talk about these ones. Some of these the comics have got gorgeous covers. I remember I haven't really done it since, because Forbidden Planet, you can't really go to the shop, and I hate ordering from their store online. I mean, I've just ordered some of the Target books, the new ones, and they came out on, Thursday, and they still haven't shipped, so I've given up on ordering from Forbidden Planet. But here are some of the comics that I did pick up back in the day. We've got this 7th Doctor issue 3 with a gorgeous cover. I love these. I always keep thinking, like, these are steelbook worthy, particularly a lot of them. Particularly Will Brooks's art. I really love Will Brooks' art. I'd really love for him to get to do a steelbook or something. And this one's by Christopher Jones, and so it's a lovely sort of cover with all the 7th Doctor's monsters and stuff. I should, if I'd had the chance to send stuff off, I might send this off to get signed by Sylvester, because he looks great in this one. It's a nice sort of picture for his era, really. Next up, we have, I'm assuming, I have no idea, because I don't know, but I love the way they've signed this. They've signed it on the psychic paper. I don't think it's Christopher Jones, because Christopher Jones's autograph is not looking like that. I mean, could be one of these people. I mean, you can put your guess at what that is. I mean, maybe James Perry? Petey? I didn't know when I bought this, I just loved the way they signed it. But yeah, that's that autograph from the road. And then we got Slot. And this lovely sort of cover for Ryan. I really like this cover. I think it's the Seal of Rassilon one. Yeah, the Seal of Rassilon. So I loved these sort of covers as well. I'd like to get a variety of covers, really. I did mainly get Will Brooks covers, admittedly, but you know why that. This one I did actually go to the signing for. This is a comic signed by Jessica Martin, who of course played the vampire, I can't remember her name, in The Greatest Show in the Galaxy as well. I was so stressed out that day, actually, because I think my dad was in hospital, and it was, I don't know, it's 2019 now? Yeah, 2019. So it feels like forever ago now, but I remember just being so stressed. And I think this was the first time I'd gone to an event like that by myself. I remember just panicking. And I felt really awful because I picked up 2 comics to get signed, and I felt like she probably thought I was some kind of scalper. And I've just been traumatised since that event because I got it for my sister. She's trashed it since, so it kind of makes me feel even worse about it. But I just remember feeling such guilt that day because I just hate scalpers so much. I just hate what they've done to the Whovian community, and just that feeling of guilt inside me was just so overwhelming. I don't think it was helped by the stressful situation that I was in that day, but nonetheless, it was a stressful memory. But it's nice to have this lovely comic signed by Jessica Martin, even if the memory of the day wasn't the greatest. But yeah, it's a lovely cover. I really like this picture of 13 as well. It's really nice. It's for Free Comic Book Day. I don't think we were really able to do Free Comic Book Day this year or last year, really, because of lockdown. So that's probably the most recent comic book day. But now we're moving towards the end as we reach the hardback books, and we're going to sort of touch on that and maybe touch about what the next sort of autograph-oriented video could be afterwards. But yeah, let's have a look at the hardback books. Moving back to Target, we've got the Target Storybook. And this is where we come to the moment where I met Colin Baker for a second time, because I met Colin Baker at the BFI and I got an annual signed. I haven't got that well, I have got it, but I felt like it would be a bit ridiculous to keep showing the same autographs over and over again. Although Nicola Bryant is in there, so I might go get it in a minute. But as you can see, this is probably one of my most prized possessions because of just how many autographs it's got in it. And it's got As Seen on BBC TV. I loved this book. I loved the cover and the way it sort of stretches around the side. And then when you open it up, you've got all the doctors. And of course, you've got Adric just hanging on the end there, and I love that so much. I don't know why, but I just love Adric so much. So yeah, that's probably got something to do with it. Ooh, sorry, my fingers are getting in the way. But yeah, this is one of my most treasured momentums. Oh, I've still got this little slip in it from the day, and it was Friday the 22nd of November. Oh, it would have been just before the BFI screening for the Curse of Fenric, actually, now that I think about it. And here it is inside. We've got, I think, right, okay, the obvious one is Colin Baker. He's in the corner there, and you can recognise his autograph probably from earlier. We've also got Joy Wilkinson, who wrote the Witchfinders. I think this is Vinay Patel, who wrote both Fugitive of the Jadoon, which is one of the best Jodie Whittaker stories, I think. Pretty much agreed on by many people. That's Vinay Patel. He also wrote Demons of Punjab, which is one of my favourite stories from season 11. And then we got, I think it's a Rachel something. Does it say? I can't find anyone at the moment, so let's have a look at the author's page. I think it was a Rachel something. I might have been, was it Beverly Sanford? I don't think so. Well, it's one of them. I can't remember who. Might have been Beverly Sanford because of the B, I think. So yeah, that's ooh, that didn't end so well. Sorry for sort of dropping the microphone on the floor there, but hey, professionalism. Next we're going to move on to sort of Tom Baker. We will come back to Colin Baker and Nicola Bryant in a minute with the annual, but we're going to move to Tom Baker. And again, this was probably affected by my dad being in hospital because we went to York just before he went in, just as a last hurrah in case he did, God forbid, die. He didn't. Everything's fine and dandy now, but back then everything was sort of all over the place. But yeah, which meant I wasn't able to be in London for the signing with Tom Baker for Scratchman. I was really looking forward to it, and my mum phoned them and asked would it be possible to reserve a signed copy, and they said they weren't going to go do any, but I think perhaps the fact that my dad was in hospital helped. But they managed to get Tom Baker to do this specially. It wasn't signed or dedicated or anything, but they managed to get him to do this specially for me, which I'm very, very pleased about, actually. It's signed by Tom Baker inside, and it's got even more sentimental value than that signed pin tag, but I wanted to, because particularly a lot of these are stories that matter the most behind them, and it's just such a touching story, particularly for me, that they did that for me, so I'm really pleased about that. Because it was such an emotional time at that time, not at the moment, it's fine now, but yeah, at the time it was just, it meant a lot, to put it bluntly. And then this was probably the last signing I went to before lockdown. It would have been at Forbidden Planet, and ironically, I have since found out that someone who follows me on Instagram was also there on the same day, and that was sort of a weird thing that we've talked about. But that's the At Childhood's End signing, which is a lovely book, one of my favourite books. I remember reading it in lockdown and thinking, this is really good, I really like this. I love the cover, the sort of 13th Doctor silhouette, and then of course the silhouette of Ace as well, which I really liked. And then of course inside it is signed by Sophie Aldred. I mean, she was going to write my mum's name and my sister's name, and I was a bit touchy about it, and she ended up writing my name really high up, and then I think she was going to write my mum and sister's name. I made up for it because we got a signed poster dedicated to all of us, but I kind of wanted this to be just to me because I'm a bit selfish like that, really, let's face it. It wasn't the greatest of experiences, really, because I ended up saying, this is me, I'm not old enough to watch any of it. And then I pointed out my mum, who had been old enough to watch it. I felt so embarrassed saying it. I said, my mum here is old enough to have watched your stuff. And I don't think it helped either my mum or Sophie Aldred to feel any better, but I felt really bad about saying it at the time. I still do, but yeah, it was a fairly funny moment, I suppose. It's lovely Sophie Aldred. I think Sophie Aldred's got a gorgeous autograph. I really love her sort of style, actually. It looks really nice, and a great book too. One of the reasons why I prefer to do the books is I feel like you're getting a book as well as an autograph rather than just buying a bit of signed paper. But yeah, I like them both. So we're gonna end this with the finale of the BFI signed item. I've only ever done it at the BFI once because it's sort of stressful being in that queue at the end of a BFI screening, but we are going to have a look. I think I have shown it in a video before, season 23 unboxing, but we're going to have a look at that to end this video. So, here it is, my Doctor Who annual from 1985. It's the 21st anniversary year, which they clearly thought was an incredible achievement. The 20th anniversary doesn't matter, it's all about the 21st. So yeah, we got this lovely Doctor Who annual with a lovely, gorgeous picture of Colin there. I really do love this. And this was such a trauma. A lot of these are so traumatic for me. I mean, I will order autographs online from now on because honestly, I find it so traumatic actually meeting people. Because at this point, I got Colin Baker to sign it, and then I forgot to pay him. And I felt so awful about it. Again, this would have been one of the first signings I went to. I just felt so guilty about not paying Colin Baker, the Doctor. So yeah, that's really quite traumatic memories, really. Yeah, the BFI, this was my birthday, I think, at the time. So yeah, it's nice to meet. This was the first time I met Colin Baker. I love how he's pointed to Colin there as well. I think it's a lovely little touch there, actually. And then we got to this. It was my birth, as you can see. They've got birthday messages. We've got Perry and Nicola Bryant, who were one of my favourite TARDIS teams of the 1980s. I thought they had a great sort of chemistry in a way. I love how argumentative they are, and I love how they progress into season 23 and sort of become a sort of softer, but I still love their banter. I love Nicola Bryant, and you can tell they're close friends, actually. They were really nice. I remember meeting them as well at the BFI, and having that interview experience was really nice. I love watching Doctor Who at the BFI when I can. The tickets were reasonably cheap, and if you live in London like I do, it's not that hard to travel, so it's nice to sort of be able to do that, particularly with the collection blue. It's one of the things I miss the most, is doing that and seeing like all kinds of fans and stuff. It doesn't feel like a convention, but feels more like a sort of community gathering to sort of watch Doctor Who. So yeah, that is my Doctor Who autograph collection. I hope you enjoyed this video, and thanks for watching. I hope you have a lovely day, and sort of, if you want to sort of get updates on upcoming content, I would love it if you consider subscribing. It'd be amazing, and yeah, goodbye.